Now at 6, extreme cluster concerns. COVID-19 infection rates in 4 counties in and around the city threaten to spiral out of control. The drastic new measures being considered to stop this.
As concerns about clusters spreading across the city grow, thousands of elementary school students return to class in person today. We're live with how day 1 went.
And 100,000 bad ballots. What's to blame for a big mistake that saw absentee ballots delivered to voters with the wrong names and addresses on the return envelopes? Thanks for joining us on a busy Tuesday. I'm Natalie Pascarella.
And I'm Chuck Scarborough. New York City's infection rate is now above 3% for the first time in months. The hot spots driving the rate are all in Brooklyn and Queens.
Rockland and Orange counties also hot spots, with COVID spreading at a rate far outpacing the city and the state average.
And as of today, the city's daily positivity rate is 3.25%. The city's 7-day rolling average just under 1.4%. Schools will have to close if the 7-day rolling average reaches 3% or more. Indoor dining scheduled to start tomorrow will be reassessed if the 7-day rolling average reaches 2% or more.
And we have team coverage for you tonight, starting with News 4's Andrew Siff covering the city clusters from Queens.
Natalie and Chuck, there was a pop-up COVID testing site right here outside of Borough Hall here in Queens. They had another pop-up testing site in Brooklyn. It's part of a new effort to try and contain these spikes before they become community spread. The #1 message is that people need to wear a mask. In fact, City Hall today said if you don't wear a mask, it might cost you money. Governor Cuomo at his Midtown office offering a grim assessment today of the COVID clusters in Brooklyn and Queens.
These are embers that are starting to catch fire in dry grass. Send all the firefighting equipment.
Scary.
Anna Caldera, who lives in one of the 9 city zip codes in the midst of a spike, got a COVID test at this pop-up site at Queensboro Hall.
We feel like if people would just follow the protocol, then it wouldn't spread as much.
We have to be on high alert.
Mayor de Blasio today said his office is considering closing certain businesses and adding restrictions in the key zip codes. Just Friday, you saw defiant residents of Gravesend yell unmasked at city health officials.
You are a liar.
Today, the mayor said those who don't wear masks will now, for the first time, have to pay.
Anyone who refuses to wear a face covering will be told that if they don't put one on, they will be fined.
But the governor pushed back, saying the city isn't even enforcing the law on its own employees.
Why don't the NYPD wear masks? What signal does that send? Wearing a mask is the law. But the police officer, who's supposed to enforce the law, doesn't wear a mask.
The political tension ratcheted up on the first day of elementary school, and one day before indoor dining finally set to resume in New York City. And on that subject, the governor and mayor agree for now it's still happening.
I still believe with intensive effort in the 9 zip codes that we can turn the situation around quickly.
But again, saying that masks are mandatory and enforcing that may be another thing. The MTA, you may recall, has been saying they would fine people for not wearing masks. That happened 2 weeks ago. So far, they've handed out 6 summonses. We're live at Borough Hall in Queens. Andrew Siff, News 4 New York.
All right, Andrew, thank you very much. Now, outside the city, the cluster of Rockland County's Orthodox Jewish community is one of the largest in the state. Investigative reporter Sarah Wallace continues our team coverage live now in Spring Valley. Sarah?
Well, and Chuck, this MedRite clinic behind me is quieter now, but you can still see people lined up waiting to get a rapid COVID test. Clearly, many concerned about the uptick in cases here in Rockland.
Got everybody with a mask.
I'm very happy to see this.
Only our cameras were with Ramapo Town Supervisor Michael Specht as he checked mask compliance today at several stores frequented by Hasidic customers.
It's been spotty all over because there was a sense that the virus went away, and now people realize it's back, and we have to fight it. We have to take whatever measures are necessary to fight it. We're going to be coming back doing spot checks, and we will issue fines against any store that doesn't comply.
2 zip codes in the town had the highest rate in the state of new COVID cases yesterday. Spring Valley at 30% and nearby Muncie at 25%. In recent weeks, we've been in several stores, including cafes, where masks were not being worn.
Everybody should comply. You can go around, see by the bus stops that everybody, even the small kids, everybody wearing masks, everybody keeps social distancing in the synagogues.
The governor said today he planned a virtual meeting with Orthodox leaders, but also blamed local governments for not cracking down on those ignoring the law.
This could be held to clusters if the local governments respond in a way they haven't done up until now.
Rockland Assemblyman Ken Zabrowski.
There continues to be confusion as to who can enforce, when they can enforce, and how they can enforce. Are they arresting folks? Are they fining folks?
Around the fish tank.
At the MedRight Clinic in Spring Valley, people lined up and waited for hours for a rapid COVID test, worried about the spike.
There was like nothing a couple weeks ago, and now it's I've heard at least 20 people have had it in the past couple of days that I know.
So you're getting tested as a precaution?
Yeah, I'm getting tested as a precaution, yeah. I don't have any symptoms or anything, but I just want to make sure.
And the good news is Ramapo is getting more testing sites, 4 more stationary sites and 4 mobile sites opening up at the end of the week. Live from Spring Valley, Sarah Wallace, News 4 New York.
All right, Sarah, thanks for the latest there. I want to tell you about some changes now to the tri-state quarantine list today. Colorado was added. Both Virginia and Arizona were removed. And right now, there are 34 states and territories on that quarantine list. Anybody visiting the tri-state from those spots has to quarantine for 14 days. Well, a big boost could be coming to the MTA. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Democrats included $32 billion in federal funding for mass transit in the new version of the HEROES Act. The bill hasn't been approved, but the House will vote on it this week. MTA Chairman Pat Foy praised Democrats and urged Republicans and President Trump to support that bill.
Even as the city battles COVID-19 clusters of Brooklyn and Queens, thousands of elementary school students went back to classrooms today all across the city. News 4's Gus Rosendale is live in Sheepshead Bay, where all eyes are on the infection rate to see if the schools stay open. Gus?
And Chuck, we have new developments at this hour. New at 6, new tough talk from the teachers union as 500,000 kids head back to class. Mobile testing labs on the first day of class, set up at 8 schools in Brooklyn and Queens for staff and kids with permission from their parents.
I feel like getting back to normal is the way to go here.
Brooke Miller teaches 4th grade at PS 238 in Sheepshead Bay. No problems have been reported at her school where classes resumed today, but it is located in a zip code that has seen a COVID spike.
You know, I'm trying to make it a comfortable place for them, so they're not afraid. And all of our safety precautions are intact.
The mayor and schools chancellor welcomed students back this morning, saying New York overall is still below numbers that would require any school to be closed, despite recent upticks in several Queens and Brooklyn neighborhoods.
We are not seeing an uptick in cases in the schools in those zip codes.
Late today, the president of the New York City Teachers Union pressed the mayor, saying, "We've advised the city that if infection rates in these areas cannot quickly be contained and reduced, the city must adopt a strategy to close public facilities, including the more than 80 public schools in these hard-hit neighborhoods."
You ready for this, buddy?
Grades K through 8 returned to class this morning. Middle and high schools opened Thursday after 2 previous delays.
We're very excited because the school, they have sent a lot of emails about like their new protocols.
Meantime, mobile testing labs will become a part of the regular school routine at every school in the system.
From a teacher to a parent, anyone at home, if the testing's available, you would say?
I would say definitely take it, do it on site if possible, because it'll alleviate some of the stress. You'll know within 24 hours.
The mayor says the testing at schools will be 1 day every month for every school. Permission slips for the kids head home this week. We're live in Sheepshead Bay. I'm Gus Rosendale, News 4 New York.
Gus, thank you.